Hello, pembelajar online whom I love wherever you are. So today, we would like to discuss about Sight LC. But before that, please subscribe, like, comment, and also share my YouTube channels. My name is Dadang Prasetyo Niko, and I'm an expert in international trade and finance. And we'll be right back after this moment. Ladies and gentlemen, let us begin to discuss about letter of credit. Letter of credit is a legal instrument issued by a bank on behalf of its client, providing some form of guarantee to one or more its client's commercial counterparties. A letter of credit or LC can be thought of as a guarantee that is backstopped by the financial institution that issues it. One party is required to guarantee something to another party. Typically, it is payment, but not always. It could also be guaranteeing that some project will be completed. Because counterparties in many transactions are relatively unknown to one another, it is common to one party to demonstrate its creditworthiness by tapping into its primary banking relationship and asking that bank to issue an credit LC on its behalf. The counterparty can then get comfortable with a transaction knowing that the buyer's bank has issued a guarantee. In exchange for a fee, the buyer is exclusively substituting its own creditworthiness, which is hard for the seller to measure, with that of a large and reputable financial institution. Letters of credit are especially common for cross-border transactions, where trust and timing issues are exacerbated by other factors like political and shipping risk, as well as limitations around secure registration. Some types of letter of credit. Letter of credit fall into one of two categories. They are either financial in nature or documentary, sometimes called a standby letter of credit. First, financial letter of credit or a Sight LC. Financial letter of credits guarantee payment and can be thought as a certified check in retail banking. Once certain transaction terms have been met, just like a bill of lading presented to indicate shipping of goods. The LC is deemed in exchange for immediate payment. Financial LCs are intended as a method of payment, albeit one managed and overseen by financial institutions instead of the individual trading partners. Second, documentary letter of credit or standby letter of credit. Documentary or standby letter of credit are serve as a guarantee of payments, however, are not issued with an expectation that they will be redeemed. If one is, it means that something likely went right with the transaction or with the contract terms. Standby letter of credits are designed to stand by in the event that some transaction terms are not met. Let's assume that there are parties involved in a transaction, a buyer and a seller. The seller wants some guarantee of payment from the buyer before agreeing for of contract terms, and the buyer management approached the loan officer of their commercial bank to get an LC. In this example transaction, the buyer is also called the applicant. The applicant's financial institution is called the issuing bank since it will be issuing the trade instrument on behalf of the client or the applicant. The seller, in this case, is the beneficiary, meaning they will benefit from proceed the guarantee when it is called. Given that the seller is unlikely an expert in trade finance instrument like LCs, its own bank, in this case, the advising bank will serve as an intermediary. Assume the term of the transaction are the payment shall be made upon shipping of physical goods. The sellers will present its bank, the advising bank, with a bill of lading once the shipment has been confirmed. The advising bank will then contact the issuing bank to call or redeem the financial LC. They, in turn, will credit funds to the advising bank by way of some international payment network such as SWIFT, who in turn will deposit cash into its client or the seller's account. Since the issuing bank is required to actually remit payment with the LC is called, they need to have something highly liquid available. As a result, the applicant will generally either post cash collateral to backstop the LC, or management may be able to serve out a portion of its operating line of credit instead. So how a standby letter of credit works? Unlike a financial LC, standby letter of credit are issued to provide comfort to the beneficiary that payment will be forthcoming if some term of a contract between the beneficiary and the applicant are not met. A common use of a standby letter of credit is commonly real estate. A prospective tenant call them Part A or the applicant is look a sign a 5 years lease with Part B, the landlord and the beneficiary for 100,000 square foot warehouse facility. Assume that the facility will require some modes of customization. The landlord wants to know that should they spend the money to do this renovation, Part A won't default or its rent or leave them with a large facility that's already been renovated to suit a special tenant's needs. Part B might ask Part A for a standby letter of credit in the amount of 12, 18, or perhaps even 24 months rent to protect its financial interests in its property. Should Party A default on its rent payment, Party B would go to its own bank or advising bank and declare that the contract terms were breached. The advising bank would notify the issuing bank, which would immediately remit payment on behalf of the applicant of its client. Like a financial letter of credit, the issuing bank needs funds available immediately if the LC gets called. In this case, standby letter of credit are similar in that they too offer to require some kind of operating line of the credit. So I will show you an example of Sight letter of credit and how to use letter of credit. Yes, all right. So I will explain everything about LC at site MT700 from top into bottom. LC MT700 is represent the at site LC. Empty means message types, and Swift destination means an address of the destination of the receiver. Here is BOFAUS3N. And then we go to the LC number, which is 0290118038815, and the amount is private. Advising bank. Advising banks means that the bank that's issued an LC. In this case is Bank of America that has an address in New York, the United States of America, postcode 100382501, USA. Then we go to clause 27. It is sequence of total, which is 1/1. Then clause 40A is form of documentary credit, which is irrevocable transferable. Then clause 20 is documentary credit number that I have already mentioned. It is 0290118038815. Then clause 31C, it is date of issue. That is 27 July 2020. Then clause 40A, it is applicable rules, which is UCP latest version. Then we go to clause 31D, which is date or place of expire. It is 21st October 2020 at the DC issuing bank counter. It means that this LC has 3 months license. Then clause 50 is mentioning about the applicants, which is here is also private. We go to clause number 59, that is beneficiary, which is also private. Then we go to clause number 32B, which is currency code and amount, which is also private. And 41D is the destination of the bank. Here is DBS Bank Hong Kong Limited. And 42C is mentioning about at Sight. It is the identity of the LC. And then we go to the clause 42D. The drawee is the bank of the destination, which is DBS Bank Hong Kong. The 43P is partial shipment, which is allowed. And then we go to 43T, transshipment, which is also allowed. And 44E, port of loading or airport of departure, is any port in the US. And 44F is port of discharge or airport of destination, is any port in the UEA. Then we go to 44C, which is latest date of shipment. It is 6 October 2020. Then We go to the page number 3 of this at Sight LC. Subsidiaries operates. Under these measures, the bank, its agent, and or other parties may not be able to process or engage in transactions which may involve a breach of such sanction or regulator or which may expose the bank, its agent, and or other parties to any delay or loss, financial or otherwise. The bank will not be liable for any loss, damage, loss of profit, expenses, cost, claim of proceeding, whether direct, indirect, or consequential, which you or any other person may suffer or face in connection with the bank exercising its right hereunder. First, this LC is transferable by Bank of America, 222 Broadway, New York, the USA. Swift code POFAU S3N. In the event of transfer, the transferring bank must advise the issuing bank details of transfer, including the name of the second beneficiaries, address, and date of transfer. However, the transferee must not hit special sanction and regulation imposed and enforced by the US, UN, EU, and other government and or regulatory authorities against certain countries. Then second, important notice to transferring bank. Through you are nominated as transferring bank, authorization in effective letter of transfer in subject of issuing bank's consent. Please provide name of second beneficiary with full address, consent via authenticated SWIFT or telex. In any event, no letter of transfer would be reflected under issuing bank consent obtained. Then, invoice exceeding this credit amount is not acceptable. Freight forwarded bill of lading, chartered part bill of lading, stale bill of lading, and short from blank back non-negotiable seaway bill of lading is not acceptable. Shipment affected prior to LC issuing date is not acceptable. Negotiation of document with incomplete document under reserve or guarantee is strictly prohibited. On each drawing under our letter of credit, a discrepancy fee for 60 USD or equivalent plus relative cable charge will be charged and deducted from our payment or reimbursement claim on the discrepancy documents. Additional fee from $25 will also be charged on each additional set of documents. A set of documents would include one set of invoice plus relative transport documents under the same drawing, notwithstanding any instruction to the contrary. This charge shall be for the account of the beneficiary. The issuing bank shall be entitled to require the nominated bank to send copies of all the documents presented under the credit and which the nominated bank has determined to be a complying presentation, where the document thus determined to comply lost in transit after being sent by the nominated bank. The issuing bank should be entitled to examine the copies of the documents to determine if they comply with the term of the credits or accept for the question or originality, and to refuse reimbursements to the nominated bank should the issue bank determine that documents do not comply with the term. And then we go to the next slide. It is clause number 45A, description of goods and or services. Here in this case is 3M Healthcare particular respirator and surgical mask 1860, N95 120 EA slash cache P slash I number 70717861. The quantity is 100,000 per pieces and the unit of price is 5.10 US dollar per pieces and total is private. Trade term is to CIF the UAE. Then we go to clause 46A, documents required. First, it needs signed details invoice in 3 original and 2 copies. Then it needs full set of clean on-board bills of lading made out to order and endorsed in blank mark, freight, prepaid and notify, bill of lading to show name, address and telephone fax number of shipping company agent representing them at the port of destination. Bill of lading to clarify indicates that the good can only be delivered at destination port only on submission of all 3 sets of original bill of lading. Then the third one is packing list, measurement, last and weight list in triplicate issued by beneficiary indicating description, quantity, specification, gross net weight, volume of each carton is required to be submitted. Then the original clean inspection certificate issued and manually signed by the LC authorities and etc. Then we go to 47A, additional condition. First is specific sanction and regulations are imposed and enforced against certain countries entitled and or individual by the United States of America, the United Nations, the European Union, Singapore, and other local governmental and or regulatory authorities in jurisdiction where DBS Group Holding Limited. All right, and this is the last page of this at Sight LC. All of the document of at Sight LC must be issued in English. A Hong Kong dollar 200 or equivalent will be deducted from the proceeds for each presentation of documents which are having an amount less than or equal to 10,000 US dollar or if equivalent, notwithstanding any instruction to the contrary. These charges are for the account of beneficiary. Clause 71D. Charges. All bank charges outside of LC issuing banks counter including reimbursement charges are for account of beneficiary. Clause 48. period for presentation in days. It is 15 days after the date of shipment. Clause 49. Confirmation of instruction. It is without confirmation. Clause 78. Instruction to the paying, accepting, negotiating bank. First, an extra copy of invoice forwarded applicant's cargo receipt of bill of lading or airway bill, if applicable, must be furnished to be bank in Hong Kong for our record. Document to be dispatched to DBS Bank Hong Kong with the address of 12/F 1 Island East 18 Westland Road Island East Hong Kong through presenting bank in one lot by courier. Presenting bank must certify on its covering schedule that the amount of its drawing has been endorsed of the original credit. Clause 57D. Advice through bank. Bank of America, 222 Broadway, New York 10038 USA. Swift destination POFAU S3N. Clause 72Z. Sender to receive information. Beneficiary telephone number is personal. Fax number is personal. Contact person is Mrs. Deborah D. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's all the thing that I can share to you and send to you regarding at Sight LC. I hope you get the beneficiary for this presentation. We'll meet again very soon. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.